Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. There is a very real possibility that the SEC's appeal against Ripple could be dropped during the XRP bull run. And I want to talk about that. Now, obviously, XRP's already begun its first move to the upside for the cycle, going from, like 49 cents up to, in a matter of a couple weeks, whatever it was, up to $2.90. And we're waiting for the next leg to the upside. But attorney Jeremy Hogan of the XRP community has laid out when he thinks that this whole appeal situation could go bye-bye. And we already knew a couple months ago that attorney Hogan has been thinking that this thing's going to go away. But now that we see how things are unfolding with this market and with brand new comments from attorney Jeremy Hogan as to when he thinks this could wind down, it's worth bringing up the conversation. And this really could happen. You could have XRP in its most explosive move to the upside in 7 years, hitting a new all-time high, and then this news drops, and it's just going to be like adding fuel to the fire, right? Just rocket propellant. I can only imagine what this would do. And I want to talk about why, though, because it's interesting to see how typical retail speculators respond when things like this happen. And just a little hint here, they tend to respond a little bit differently when the market is in a state of euphoria. There's much stronger emotions then, and you get exuberant behavior on a whole different level. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so as far as speculators responding to news that has to do with the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit, let's start there and look at how the market has responded in recent months. And so here is a headline from CNBC. This is from October 3rd. This would be the day after the SEC announced that they would be appealing the Judge Torres decision in the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit. So you get the headline, XRP slides 9% after SEC appeals decision in landmark Ripple case. Okay, now, I don't think they're trying to be deceptive. That actually is incorrect. That's not true. I am absolutely going to nitpick this because it's kind of crucial to a point that I'm making, and it's just not factually correct. But like I said, on October 2nd, the news was broken, and here's a post that I shared at 4:40 p.m. Central Time, October 2nd, 2024. The news about the SEC appealing the ruling in the Ripple lawsuit has been known for over a half hour, and the price of XRP has only fallen 1 cent. Most holders clearly understand this appeal does not harm or impact XRP holders. XRP still has regulatory clarity. Even if the SEC wins on appeal, it will only impact Ripple's XRP sales, not secondary market transactions from people like you and me. This appeal is not a big deal for holders at all. It's also worth mentioning that XRP price was already sliding down when this news broke, as it's a red day in crypto practically across the board, meaning the additional penny decrease was probably happening anyway. I predicted the market would not care about this news if we got it, and now we know such thinking was correct. Okay, and that's in line with what I said. My perspective was never that there would be zero response. It was that on the whole, the market wouldn't care, and that's very clearly what ended up happening. Because I was talking about this in the weeks and months leading up to this. I was like, there's a very real chance that the SEC is going to appeal, and if that happens, it's for sure. This is not just Moon Lambeau saying this. Is not my speculation. It is a matter of fact that XRP has legal clarity regardless. So there would only be a small percentage of people perhaps who are unaware of that might react. Outside of that, there's nothing to be scared of here. And so it was a very small percentage of humans around the world that responded. And so I had another post. Here it was. So this is at 7:07 p.m. the same day. So hours after this had broke. I wrote, it has been 3 hours since the news broke that the SEC is appealing the ruling in the Ripple lawsuit. The price of XRP is only down 2 cents from when the news broke. 56 cents to 54 cents. And I'll actually pause for my own comment to note that is true what I wrote there, but I just want to make sure nobody's confused. It did go, so let me just read that one more time. The price of XRP is only down 2 cents from when the news broke, 56 cents down to 54 cents. And that's according to Live CoinWatch. I will note that even Live CoinWatch showed that the price dipped as low as 53 cents. The reason I wrote that sentence, it includes the fact that XRP had already recovered a penny since then. And depending on the source that you go to be clear, on various exchanges, it'll be a little bit different. Maybe you could have a greater or more shallow pullback depending on which exchange you're looking at, because Live CoinWatch, it's the same as like CoinMarketCap or any of these websites. It aggregates the data. So they're pulling data from multiple sources, and it's basically like, here's the average of how whoever they're pulling data from, that's how it performed basically. And so that's why we saw, so basically it went from 56 cents when the news broke down to 53 cents, up to 54 cents as of the time that I had posted that, right? And so I wrote, there is no mass hysteria over this, and there shouldn't be. I think this shows most XRP holders understand this development does not in any shape, way, or form harm XRP. XRP has regulatory clarity, and even if the SEC wins on appeal, it will not impact secondary market transactions at all. We are fine. Yeah, a few holders clearly got scared and sold, but they're in the minority. If we were going to tank 75% like happened in December 2020, I think we should have seen a much more aggressive move to the downside by now. Maybe XRP price will go a little lower, but even if that happens, who cares? It doesn't matter. This clearly will not negatively impact how XRP performs this market cycle. Yeah. And so that is what happened. So as it turns out, and if you look at this on a chart, and I've showed it in previous videos, don't want to get further into the weeds in this, but this is important. I want to make sure people understand this, because it's about how the market responds to news. So if you look at when the news broke, if you look on a short time frame, just really super zoomed in, it looks like the price of XRP fell off a cliff. But again, it went down about 3 cents, from 56 cents to 53 cents. And it took, and that fall, it happened for 90 minutes. That was it. That was it. And then it moved back up and mostly sideways. That was it based on the news. Now, yes, by the time election rolled around, November, XRP price was as low as, I think 49 cents, something like that. But that wasn't because of the news. It was going up and down with the market. Like it didn't respond further to this news, which is great, because if you were here in 2020, you know what happened. XRP didn't plummet for 90 minutes in 2020 when the SEC sued Ripple. It plummeted for a week straight, losing 75% of its market cap, of its total value. That's everything. For a week, we saw a 90-minute response, and I was like, that makes sense. Most people got it. This doesn't matter. But on the flip side, now that when you're in this mode where markets are really exuberant, we have evidence, and this is really positive sign here. When we got word that Gensler was resigning, the price of XRP shot up higher. That was a greater impact than the SEC saying that they were going to appeal the Judge Torres decision. Now, mind you, of course, this is after the election, and so it was assumed that things for crypto were going to get better anyway. So that would be a factor as well. It's all about how the election played. Like, this is really good for anybody that's in crypto, very obviously. But look at this headline from November 22nd. XRP surges past $1.40 for the first time since 2021 as Gensler confirms his resignation. So we knew that was almost certainly going to come, that he'd resign. This is very common when you have an administration change, because Trump won. And then we got the news, actually, it was on the 21st. And he said here, on January 20th, 2025, we'll be stepping down as SEC chair. And then he had a thread about it. I don't care. I'm just glad that little douchebag's gone. Freaking Mr. Burns lookalike. What a piece of crap. What? I mean, my God, this asshat prick. Really burns my biscuits, son. But the good news is he'll be gone. We're almost done with this guy. And so that was November 21st, and XRP moved up pretty dramatically. So here's a chart showing XRP price going back the last 90 days. Look at how the market responded here. So go back to the 20th, the day before the news broke, and XRP was as low as about $1.08. Okay. What happened? It got up to, as of the 22nd, the day after, $1.54. So it went from $1.08 to $1.54. because, and by the way, just to be clear, that news, when it started moving to the upside, it was coinciding very precisely with that news triggered. Now, as I frequently say in these scenarios, when you're in a really excited moment, like it's like the gasoline's been poured. It's like, which spark is going to ignite the next phase of this thing? So had it not been that, XRP still could have ran. It could have been something else. It's just like the conditions were ripe for it anyway. But if you're talking about the lawsuit going away, even though it doesn't materially matter for XRP, because look, as far as XRP is concerned, we're in the clear. That doesn't matter, and I insist that. So like, even if this appeal goes away, but what matters is how the market will respond and the degree to which that's going to be discussed on social media, in crypto media, in legacy media. It's going to be all over the place. And it's going to get people really hyped and more into it. So even if it doesn't materially matter for XRP in terms of legal status, and it really doesn't. Absolutely, I insist it doesn't. Still, it can absolutely impact what happens in the market. And that's the exciting thing. So XRP goes to new all-time high, I believe, regardless. But then there's this question of, to what degree is it going to get amped up further than it otherwise would have been? And with all this lining up so perfectly, we'll see what happens here, but man, stuff happens fast here, you know? And obviously this is a major thing too. This is a headline from early December 4th from Reuters. Trump picks former SEC Commissioner Paul Atkins to run agency. And so this guy is pro-crypto. Assuming this he ends up getting approved, he will be the first ever pro-crypto SEC chair. The first in history. And it's because of the way that this election went. Otherwise, you would not be seeing this. So again, it's just more fuel to the fire, basically, as far as I'm concerned. So that materially matters. But because that is happening, that's the reason that there's a really good chance, almost certainly, according to many attorneys in the crypto space, even ones that are anti-crypto, have been saying, yeah, it looks like this thing's almost certainly going to get dropped, this Ripple lawsuit. So then it's a question of when. And that brings us to the new comments from Attorney Hogan. And so you have this headline from the Crypto Times. Jeremy Hogan says SEC v. Ripple case may settle by May 2025. I'm just going to take you straight to the source. I don't really need to read the article here. But there was a XRP community member, Johnny Crypto, who had a question for Attorney Hogan, and he responded. Question time, and this is a new one. So he posted this at 6:15 p.m. January 4th. Again, that's Central Time, which is my time zone. And just a few minutes later, he responded 6:18. So just last night. But the question here, question time. Hey, Jeremy. What's your thoughts on the probability of Paul Atkins dropping the appeal and settling with Ripple to end the XRP case in 2025? Is this the most likely scenario in your mind? And here's what Attorney Hogan had to say just last night. I definitely think that's the most likely scenario, with the Ripple case being a non-fraud / no investors harmed case. Like most of these things, it's just the timing that is difficult to lock down. Maybe April or May. And so he's thinking April or May, that's when that could come down. So a couple of things there. It could be the case that XRP peaks before that. I don't pretend to know, in which case this news wouldn't have an opportunity to have much of an impact, even if it causes the price of XRP to go up a little bit. If it's already hit its peak, then we're not going to care that much anyway. But it's also true that if you look at what happened last cycle, it was April. Here, let me just pull up. Let's do an all-time chart for this is just on Live Coin Watch. Just pull something up real quick here. You can see XRP hit its peak in April 2021. So if you're talking about 4-year cycles, it could be sooner than that. It could be a little bit later than that. So if you're talking in that range, it's certainly plausible that if it gets dropped by April or May, this could be in like the throes of XRP going ballistic anyway. And can you imagine if that news comes down? And again, I do not believe, and I am certain of this, that it does not matter for XRP's long-term viability, legal status, anything whatsoever. I'm only saying it would be wild because of how humans respond to it emotionally. That's it. It doesn't matter, but I know humans. Like I know they respond to stuff like this in times of euphoria. We already saw what happened when Gensler stepped down, and the minute that happened, XRP started taking off. Like it really is that close. Like the timing so perfectly correlates to Gensler doing that. It's undeniable. And it's just wild. Like the degree to which it did that, I found it very impressive and endlessly fascinating. Like the fact that Gensler, which we knew he's going to go away anyway. We just get the official word, and then XRP takes off even further. I'm like, it doesn't. It's not even XRP specific. I mean, I'm for it though, but I was just like, gosh, it's exciting. See, that's how humans respond though. So that's what's so cool about this. But could it happen sooner? Could we get the news sooner? Well, that question was posed to him. So there's XRP community member named Canadian CryptoBot. And he wrote, what are the odds of the Ripple/SEC case being dismissed, settled, or dropped by February? And Attorney Hogan wrote to him and said, I'd say it's possible, but maybe unlikely. 40 days is not a lot of time to get reports together, memos, have the requisite SEC meetings, etc. I'm going with April/May as a likely time frame. Okay, and that's fair enough. So if it's going to happen, and it probably will, like honestly, even John Reed Stark, a former SEC attorney who is very anti-crypto, says not only should the appeal be dropped, but he firmly believes that it will be because of the administrative change. Because you're going to have a bunch of people in charge now that are completely against what happened under the Biden administration. They're going to be like, no, this shouldn't have happened. They're going to want this crap to go away. That's what's because that's a mandate from the top on down. That's what the power of elections, my friends. So it's possible that you could even again the question was, could it be dropped in February even, so next month? Possibly. He says it's possible here. He doesn't think that's the most likely outcome, but think about that. That could happen during the next leg up for XRP. Then either way, like that would be ridiculously wild too. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens, but the timing of this actually could, not guaranteed, but could be such that we get the news during the midst of this bull run for XRP, which even without that was already expected to be the most meaningful in history, really. I mean, okay, fine, you can argue back 2017 bull run, that was in terms of percentage gains, that would be true. But in terms of the number of people this is going to impact, it's much more substantial. So it really depends on what metric you're looking at. But this is going to be absolutely wild. So we'll see. And who knows, maybe, or we're all wrong and they don't drop it. That's possible. But I'm skeptical. I think that this thing's probably going to be dropped. That they're going to drop the appeal. And then Ripple will do the same thing, I'm sure. And fine, it could happen later in the year if it's going to happen, in which case, maybe it doesn't really. Maybe XRP's already hit its all-time high for the cycle. But I don't know, the way that, if it really lines up the way Attorney Hogan's talking about, this could get absolutely buck wild. So it's going to be a fun thing to watch here. But either way, the good news is, even without that, XRP, I still firmly believe, is going to hit a new all-time high. Price discovery, melt faces, the whole 9 yards. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, though. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say are right. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.